Hello, Professor Toybox here, along with Aladdin, the diamond in the rough, and the only one who can safely enter the Cave of Wonders. Last time, I showed you how to build the scarab chase that we saw in the original Aladdin movie. When Jafar combines the two halves of the scarab, it flies across the desert to the Cave of Wonders, and Jafar has to ride fast on his horse to follow it. When the scarab reaches its destination, it causes the entrance to the Cave of Wonders to rise up out of the desert. I built the scarab chase in the last episode, and today I'll show you how to make the Cave of Wonders appear. So first, let's go ahead and place the Cave of Wonders and see what we have to work with. So I'm going to put it right on top of that path point at the end of where the scarab travels to that we put down last time. So right there. And the first thing you'll notice is that the back of this is open. And we'll need a way to cover that up. And so we're going to go ahead and put down some terrain. So I'll come down to the terrain drawer. And unfortunately, there's no way to make this terrain connect to a path and move like we can with the Cave of Wonders. And I could use some blocks out of the blocks drawer because I can attach those to a path, but that wouldn't look very good. Let's see, so we'll start with this piece. I'm just going to put kind of a nice little edge around this. And we'll put one over here and one on the other side, and then we'll fill in the gaps. And this looks a little bit better than just having a block of terrain sitting up in the air here. So that covers up the back of the Cave of Wonders. And again, unfortunately, since I can't connect all those blocks to a path, that'll be sitting out there like that in space, and there's nothing I can do about that. Alright, so the cave is going to sit here, and I'll go ahead and move it up here out of the way for right now. Now, to save a little time, I've dropped down a few extra creativitoys that we're going to need. I've got a couple of buttons, and I'm going to use one to do the playback and have the Cave of Wonders rise up out of the ground. The other one will do a reset. And I've also got an effects generator, a time delayer, a sound effect generator, a radar marker, 5 locators spread out on the ground, and one up in the air. And this one up in the air sits right by the Cave of Wonders nose. And that's the one we're going to use for the radar marker. So again, I'll put that up there out of the way. And you'll notice this little locator here is about half a block behind this path point. Just for your spacing. These are about a half a block out in the other direction from that path point. And then there's one block from those to this terrain. Alright, so let's go ahead and put down our path that's going to make the Cave of Wonders rise up. And the Cave of Wonders is a little bit taller than the terrain block that we have here, so we're going to have to put this down a little ways. I'm going to center it right underneath that end point for the other path where the scarab comes to. And we're going to drop the first point down here about a half a block below the edge of the terrain. And then the last point will be right up here on the ground. And I'll exit. And so there's our path. And if I put this point here right up on the edge of the bottom edge of that block, then the top edge of the noggin here for the Cave of Wonders would be sticking up out of the ground. So that's why we have that up there. Now for the path properties, we're going to come down here and leave active on, and I'm going to set the speed to 25. And I did a little trial and error here. I'm trying to sync this up with the audio. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. And these flags are off. I'm going to turn off auto start when connected. So there's our path, and now we can connect up the Cave of Wonders to that. And before we do that, I'm going to move this below the terrain, I think, because this will be out of the way then when I connect this to the path. So we'll do a new path connection and connect it to the path, and there it sits. And you can see the top edge of it is below the terrain. So there's no indication up here that it's there. So that's good. Alright, so then we'll come down to the Cave of Wonders and open up the properties for that. Go under Toy Box Path, and everything in here is fine, but I want to set the movement style to one way and stop. Okay, so there's that. Now we're going to play some special effects when the cave is going up out of the ground, and so I'm going to connect up this effects generator to the 5 locators that are on the ground over here. And so I'll come over to each of these. And I don't really need 5 effects generators because I can connect one of these up to multiple locators. There's 3. There's 4. And 1 more to go. Okay. And for the sound effect generator, I'm going to connect that to a locator as well. And I'm going to connect that to the one in the middle. That will be the location where the sound will come from. And under the properties for this, we're going to leave the 3D sound at speaker or locator on. So if the player's not close enough to this, they're not going to hear it. That makes sense, because if they fall in the canyons on the way out or fall behind that scarab, then they shouldn't be hearing the sounds here as that's coming up out of the desert when they're on the other end of the toy box. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and hook up the locator, or the radar marker. And I'm going to connect that to this one that's up in the air. Whoops. There we go. And then the properties for the radar marker. Set the beacon type to be a yellow, whoops, not a yellow ring, a yellow arrow. There we go. Beacon location will be the locator. And I'm going to leave the rest of these properties the way they are. Okay. Now, we'll hook these things up in a minute, but the thing that's going to kick all of this off is going to be when the scarab reaches this path point. And so, well, let's just go ahead and hook that up now. So on the path point, we're going to do a new logic connection. When the point is reached by the object on the path, the first thing I want to do is come over to the sound effect generator. And we're going to look under the nature category. And we're going to play the avalanche. And that's a long sound effect, which is why I set the path speed to 25. So the Cave of Wonders should get right up to the top about the time that sound effect finishes. Second thing we're going to do is on the path point, we'll do a new logic connection. When the point is reached by the object on the path, I'm going to turn on the time delayer. We'll start the delay, and we'll set the property on that and use a delay time of 3 seconds. And what I'm going to do with this is that's when the Cave of Wonders will start rising up. So it's not going to come up immediately. And then the last thing we want to do on that path point, new logic connection when the point is reached by the object on the path. Come over to our effects generator, and we're going to play looped. And we're going to go down to the impacts drawer. And we're going to play the large dirt impact. So again, when the scarab reaches the end of this, we'll play the sound, we'll play the special effects, and we'll start the time delayer. And on the time delayer, we'll do a new logic connection. When the delay is completed, we're going to come over here to the path. If I can connect to it, there we go. And we're going to do a reset and play. And that will start the Cave of Wonders rising up. All right. And then on the path point here for the Cave of Wonders path, we'll do a new logic connection when the point is reached by the object on the path. So when the Cave of Wonders is completely up out of the ground, then we're going to come over to the effects generator, and we're going to stop looping those effects. And we're also going to come over here to that point. And new logic connection when the point is reached by the object on the path. We'll turn on the radar marker. And that should be everything. Now, to test this out on this end without having to run all the way to the other end, we'll hook up this button here to actually play it. And so this button needs to do everything that this point here where the scarab reaches the end is doing. So for this button, we'll do a new logic connection when pressed. Come over to the sound generator again. And we're going to go down to the nature category, play the avalanche. And we'll do new logic connection when pressed. Kick off the time delayer. And we also want to kick off the special effects. So we're going to play looped. We're going to come down to the impacts drawer and go to the large dirt impact. And then to reset, we'll use this button for our reset. So for this, we want to come over to the path for the Cave of Wonders. And we want to do a reset and stop. That'll put the cave back there under the ground. And we'll do a new logic connection when pressed, and we'll turn off the radar marker. And I think that's really everything I need to do. Just in case I want to press this in the middle of the thing, though, we'll come over here and make sure the special effects are stopped. And there we go. So now we can go ahead and test this end of it. So we'll come over to the first button and let's push it and see what happens. And there comes the Cave of Wonders. That looks pretty cool. It sounds pretty cool too. And there we go. And the radar marker is on, so it tells the player where to go, just in case they got lost along the way. All right, and then we'll go ahead and reset. So now that we know that that end of it works, let's go back up to the beginning and test this right from the start and make sure the entire sequence works the way it needs to. And I've already dropped a horse up here, just so that I can test with this. Okay, so we enter the toy box over there. We get our horse. We're on the horse. We come on up to here. There's our scarab. The text says, "Let's go." And off we go. The chase is on. So we follow the scarab. I'll try to stay as close as I can to it here so that we're close to the Cave of Wonders when it starts going. Do have a couple of jumps I gotta do though. There we are. And one more. So now the scarab's approaching its endpoint. And there we go. The scarab reached here, and here comes the Cave of Wonders. That is just cool. I like that. Okay, so that's just about it for the main quest in this toy box. I still need to add the toy box door that will actually lead into the Cave of Wonders, but I'll do that later. Next time, I'll show you how to build the side quest for the thirsty traveler who needs rescuing. In the meantime, be sure to subscribe to my channel or follow me on my blog if you haven't already done that, so you don't miss the next episode. And if you're building this toy box for yourself, I've got logic diagrams on my blog that will help you connect the Creativitoys that I used. Until next time, take care.